Hello, welcome to In the Rough with Angie. So today I am actually recording in my car. So I hope this works out well because I'm trying something new. But today I wanted to talk about discipline. I feel like for the last, maybe almost the last year, God has been showing me what a lack of discipline has done in my life and how it has affected my home and those around me. I used to view discipline as something almost kind of abusive. So I always know I'm not good with disciplining. Like if I think about disciplining my dog, right? I would rather be kind because in my mind, discipline hasn't seemed like the kind thing to do. It seemed kind of like the rude thing to do. And I know this may not make sense to you, but this has been my revelation with how I have viewed discipline. So, because the way that I have viewed it is faulty, I have had problems with it in my home, like in my family. And I will give you an example. So I run a dog business. I watch people's dogs in my home if they go on vacation. And here's the thing, I love animals with all my heart. Like, I know it's really hard not to love animals because most of the time, like, they bring joy and they're innocent and they're just, I feel like God's gift to us to help bring us joy. And there's so many awesome things that animals can do in our lives for us. But here's the thing, God created us to be over the animals, not the animals to be over us. And because of my lack of discipline, this is an example. So I'm about to get later in the story, we'll get to this, but I had two dogs, a brother and a sister, a female husky mix, and I don't have her anymore. And I have another lab mix. He's a male. So these dogs are both young and they're not trained properly, whether it be like in their breed, whether it be because of their past. I don't know. They're not trained properly. For example, they will jump up on the counters, do some counter surfing, looking for food. And my way of disciplining, I would go up to them and just like want to hug them and kiss them because I think they're so cute. So I would like grab them, kiss them first, and then get them down. So my husband and my daughter were both telling me, "You're encouraging them. You are not disciplining. That is not what they need." And they're absolutely right because, yeah, maybe I'm physically like removing them, but I also kind of rewarded their behavior because I gave them a kiss and a hug and then I got them down. Because one, I love them, and two, the way that I view discipline is faulty, at least the way that God disciplines, right? So there would be situations like that I'd notice. And then also something else I noticed is when I would have somebody else's dog come into my home and maybe that dog was disciplined the right way, like trained the right way, then I would notice, hey, this dog is like really well behaved. Is it the breed, or is it like, did this dog just get trained really good? Their dog, the dog that I was watching, would be more well trained than my dogs. All I do is hug them and kiss them and feed them and make sure they're safe and happy, but I don't correct very well. And so I noticed that other people's dogs are more well trained than my dogs. I notice that when my dogs are doing something they shouldn't be doing, instead of correcting them, I'm physically moving them, but in that process I'm also giving them like this love, like hug and kiss, because that's how I view love. I don't view it as like yelling at them, but sometimes when I do get upset enough, heck yeah, mama gonna yell a little bit. Okay. So this is an example, right, of God starting to reveal to me, you need to work on discipline and you need to work on the way that you view discipline. Moving along, our house has been chaotic with our two dogs, and I have dogs constantly coming in and out that I'm watching, and the structure of my home. And I know the main responsibilities on me because this is my job, right? I'm a dog sitter and I can provide the love that people want for their dogs. I can provide what I feel is safe. They will be well fed, they will be spoiled, they will be loved, and that's what most people want. But here's the thing, dogs also need correction. Dogs also need discipline, which discipline can just be correction. It doesn't have to be like this horrible experience for those involved, right? Like, it's not comfortable, but it will help to correct the situation so something worse doesn't happen. I'm going to read this Bible verse the way that the Bible explains discipline. And then we're going to continue on with my story about how a lack of discipline has affected my home and what God has been revealing to me about discipline personally. Okay, so this is in Hebrews 12:4-11. So it says, and this is the discipline of God, right? So actually, it'll be 12, verse 3. For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. So that's Jesus. You have not yet resisted to bloodshed, striving against sin. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks to you as sons. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, which is the discipline of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. For whom the Lord loves, he chastens, and scourges every son whom he receives. If you endure chastening, God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there whom a father does not chasten? But if doesn't discipline. But if you are without discipline, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we have had fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed for a few days chastened us as seemed best to them, but for our profit, that we may be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening, no discipline seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So I'm going to continue my story, and then I'm going to find out how the discipline that's actually painful in the moment, that's done because of love, how it can actually yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness by being trained by it. Okay, so moving on with my story. My one dog, the Husky Mix, has started to become aggressive, and she does not like most other dogs coming into my home. She feels protective of it. She feels territorial of it, even though she has been in it since she was a puppy. She's been socialized, did all the things right in that area correctly. But whatever instinct is in her, she does not like certain dogs. She just like, get out of the house, right? Like, dogs can sense other dogs' energy and anxiety, and they've got all these like natural instincts, right? That's why if you don't properly train a dog, things can go haywire. If you never discipline your dog, right? Like, things can go haywire. I'm not saying abuse. I'm saying discipline. So there is a difference. And that is what I'm telling myself, because I've never been good with discipline, because I've viewed it like abuse. It's not abuse if it's done correctly in love. So anyways, where was I? My Husky Mix started to have aggressive tendencies towards these dogs coming into my home. And first we noticed it more with her brother, where they play fight. But one time they didn't play fight. One time my Husky bit my other dog's ear and it started bleeding. So that was the first sign of like, okay, things are out of order with this dog. This dog does not have boundaries. There's something in her that she will go for it. So then we're like, okay, we need to like structure her better because she's pretty wild. Like her instincts are wild, right? Anyways, so that's the first thing that happens. We continue on with our lives. Then I have like a little small dog that comes to stay at my house. And my dog, the husky mix, one day as she's walking through the kitchen and this small dog is in the kitchen, just goes after it and starts like wrestling with it. And I was able to break up the fight, but it heightened my adrenaline, and I knew this is not good. This has gone too far. This is not something we can have in our home. Because even if I'm not good with discipline, I am big on safety, especially for my daughter. Like, this is going to be a safe environment. So that happened, and it really heightened my awareness. And I knew at that point, like, this has gone too far. So after that happened, I told my husband and I said, I do not think we can keep her. She has started this aggression, and I don't know if it's going to, and I don't know if what we do is going to fix it. So obviously this is painful, right? This is my daughter's dog that we got for her birthday. We love this dog so much. So we start to realize we're going to probably have to find her another home, maybe a place that only has one dog, right? So we tell my daughter, or my husband actually picks her up from school one day and has to break the news to her that we are going to find our husky a new home. Have you ever as a kid loved an animal? Even as an adult loved an animal? Like the way that the way that on Charlotte's Web, is it Fern? The way that Fern loves Wilbur, that is like pure love, like love that will fight, love that is just not even like, it doesn't matter what logic will say, that love will fight till the end. That love will endure all, right? I've loved like that with animals growing up. I understand that my daughter loves her dog with that type of love, to want to rescue them. And so we have to tell her that we are looking into a new home for our husky. She's devastated. I'm not going to get too deep into that. And then for 2 days, I called every place that I could find that would take her. No place would take her except one place would take her. And I didn't necessarily want her to bring her there because it was a city place that has to take your dog. It's not like you get to pick the shelter or you get to pick the situation. It just doesn't work like that. So I even did postings online on Facebook to try to find her a new home that would be good for her. So I spent 2 days calling places, trying to find something that would be a good place, because my daughter and us, we want to know that she goes to a good home, right? So 2 days spent doing that, crying through it, like devastating. And at the end of those 2 days, I still have only this one place that said yes. All the other places said no. And places are overfilled with dogs. Like, people are saying, like, you're cruel, you should just train your dog. So I got some comments online after going to some groups saying I needed to rehome my dog and it probably needs to be in a home that doesn't have other dogs. Somebody commented on my post, and that comment broke me. That comment is, some truth to it, but also in a cruel manner. Basically, like, shame on you for adopting a puppy and then they're so cute when they're small, but then deciding you don't want it later on in life and abandoning it. And that really hurt. And I get it, right? Like, there's times when you're being selfish and like you just don't want to put up with an animal, so you just like do whatever and get rid of it. That was not our situation. We loved this dog so, so much. So that broke me. And I started to think, you know what? My lack of discipline, if I could have been more disciplined, if I could have disciplined her the way she needed, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. So, anyways, we go to the one place that is left that is going to say they will take our dog. And we go in there, and I can tell my husband doesn't want to do it. Neither do I. So he says, let's try training. Like, he called this lady. It's like a 2-week training where we can send our dog. And now, okay, we'll try training. But guess what? Our daughter is now devastated. So let's have a talk with her and tell her that, hey, like, we're going to try training. If training doesn't work, we're going to have to find her a new home. Like, we can't continue on if training doesn't work. Like, we'll try this, like, wholeheartedly try this. If it doesn't work, we can't keep her. So time goes on, right? Time goes on. I'm still taking dogs in and out. Life is continuing. Our husky mix is still a lot of work, but we love her. My husband started working on training with her and, creating structure for her. I started being more of a disciplinarian to what I have in me to be. So instead of kissing her when she jumps up on the counter, I would just say, no, get her down, right? Whatever. And then rewarding them when they do the right thing. And so we're just continuing on with our lives, right? So a little while ago, I got some highlights put in my hair. And this discipline thing is on my mind, right? Like, this is an area that's jacking your home environment up. You need to work on discipline. Like, God, help me. Because the way I view discipline is this, but I know discipline is needed because my life is out of order. Anyways, I'm getting my hair done at this place, and I have about maybe 30 minutes to kill after my hair is done. And I'm in this downtown area, and I've been trying to walk more. So I was thinking, okay, let me just get like a 30-minute walk in this little downtown area. And so I start walking down the street, and there's this guy across the street with a Bible. And I forget exactly what he said, but he said, hey, do you know Jesus? Like, do you know where you're going when you die? And I said, I do know him, and I'm trusting in him alone for my salvation because I've tried other things, blah, 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 right? And anyways, he calls me over. He's like, hey, can I show you some things? So I had time, so I went over there. So he went through the gospel message with me, which I appreciate. Can't, ever get it enough. And a couple things that he said, I am very, very thankful for. So the first thing that he said is, he brought up some Bible verses that shows that we are saved by grace through faith. And this is like probably my favorite Bible verse right now. All who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. That is everything to me because I've tried other stuff. It doesn't work. It has to be only him. It has to be the work that he completed on the cross is finished, that takes the penalty for our sins. That is it. Believe it by faith. And calling on his name is faith. It's realizing, oh my gosh, I need you. I can't do this. All who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. So he kept kind of bringing that up. And then he wanted to get me to say the words, will not perish. And he said, will not perish. How sure are you that you're going to heaven? And I'm like, well, pretty sure. And he's like, no, if you've called on the name of the Lord, you will be saved. You won't perish. Okay. So he's like nailing that into my spirit, and I am trying to receive it. I've got OCD. So sometimes I'm like, pray the sinner's prayer every day. Anyways, we get through those verses, and then he brings something else up, and he says, hey, what happens if you make a mistake after you're saved? Like, can you ever lose your salvation? And I'm like, I don't know. I hope not. He's like, no, all who call upon the name of the Lord will be saved, right? Like, we will not perish. He said, if you make mistakes from this moment on, he said, God will discipline you. You don't lose your daughtership. You don't lose your sonship. He will discipline you because he loves you. And that was like, oh gosh, like I was so thankful after I talked to him because discipline has been on my mind. And him bringing up that, because I have done a lot of stuff, right, that I'm ashamed of. And sometimes I try to think like, well, when was I saved, right? Like, was I saved when I was doing this stuff I'm ashamed of? Or, like at what point did that happen in the process, right? And then I started to go back in my mind and I'm like, I don't know whether or not the Lord was disciplining me at that time that I was away from him, or if I was just away from him. I don't want to get like too caught up in that thought process right now, but discipline was the message I left with. Will not perish. If I mess up, he's going to discipline me because he loves me. Because the perishing is off the table, but the discipline is still there because it's going to produce some peaceful fruits of some righteousness in me. Okay, so that was awesome. I hope to never forget that conversation with that sweet man on the street. So moving on, I get home, I continue on with my life. I get a new dog and this dog is small, another small dog. My husky mix doesn't like small dogs or some medium dogs or some big dogs. So anyways, this dog comes and I'm not going to get too far into the details of the situation because I would rather not. But these two dogs went at it. My husky mix and this other dog both went for each other. Because my dog was bigger, my dog bit this dog in two places. I was screaming through the process. I was trying to rip them apart. I've still got marks on my hands. I was trying to rip them apart myself. I was like halfway down the stairs with these dogs trying to like get them to separate. And at the same time, like I'm helpless. They are not separating. Like I am yelling like, help, help, to my husband. My husband comes out of the room and comes down and is able to grab the small dog and we separate them. Then I get my dog, pull her by the back of the neck, put her in her kennel, and I'm sitting on the couch just like exhausted, like panting, like adrenaline high, stressful trauma situation. After that happens, I go back upstairs, talk to my husband, bring the little dog with me. And I said, I know he's going through the stress too. And I'm like, this is it, right? This is it. Like, we can't have this. We can't do this. And then when I'm saying that, I noticed that the small dog has this huge cyst on it from where it got bit. And then I have to go through the process of calling this dog's parents, explaining the situation to them, bringing their dog to the vet, covering the vet bill, and realizing like my house is in chaos, right? Like there's not a structure here. There's not enough discipline here. And because of it, my baby, who I love, my husky mix, I'm not going to be able to keep. And so I have to surrender her. I bring her back to the one place that said yes. And that's what we had to do. And I cried through the whole process. And that's where the discipline is not comfortable, but it's painful. I cry through the whole process. Horrible, right? It's not something that my heart wanted to do, but it was something that logically had to happen for the safety of the home, right? To bring order back into the home where chaos had sprung out. So moving on, I have another Bible verse to read about discipline. And it says, it's 1 Corinthians 9:27. This is the ESV version. It's getting hot in my car, man, which I'm going to have to start this bad boy back up soon. But I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Okay, so more discipline, right? Like discipline my body, keep it under control. So discipline is about keeping things under control. It's not about being mean. It's about having control of your environment, having control in your home environment. So this is what God has been speaking to me on. You need to discipline. And I've told my daughter, I said, I'm sorry. Like, I love you with all of my heart and I'm not good at discipline. And she's like, "What are you talking about? You discipline me all the time. You're always correcting me." And that was sweet to hear. Even though she was annoyed, it was sweet to hear because I do correct her, right? Like that is discipline, to correct. And to her, that can be an annoyance, but it is discipline. It's not like the discipline that I think of that can get abusive. It is correcting and it is discipline. So that's a topic for another day. We can like dissect all the different ways that discipline can happen and how to go about it, right? And what's the right way and the wrong way. And that's currently kind of what I'm thinking on. Like, Lord, how do you want me to discipline? And part of it is about my own personal discipline in my body. Like, it starts there, right? Like, do I have self discipline for myself? Because if I don't even have it for myself, how am I going to give it to my kid? How's it going to be structured in my dog business? Let me change that perspective, right? That the discipline is hurtful and wrong. No, the discipline is correcting, even though it doesn't feel good in the moment, but it's correcting something that later on will bring about peace. So now we have my sweet baby. I had to surrender her, and my home is peaceful. Like there is not the chaoticness that used to be there. The very next day, I could tell this is a huge shift. Like there is so much more peace here. Is my heart sad and grieving? Yes. But is this environment peaceful? Yes. Is it safer? Yes. Is it better for my daughter? Yes. Is it better for the other dogs that are here? Yes. And so that structure is forming back again in my home. And as I'm realizing how to discipline these animals the loving way, not the cruel way, and what it can mean for me to be more disciplined of myself, what it means for me to discipline my daughter, what it means for me to be of sound mind. Like this sad situation, I can't go back on it. I can't waver in my mind, which I've done. Like, did I do the right thing? Should have I tried this? Should have I tried that? Because all the signs were there. Dogs, some of them have this instinct in them. And I don't care how much you love them, they can attack, they can kill. Like they are animals. They have these instincts. And if you can't harness it, if you can't harness that instinct, and if you're not in an environment that's going to help them control that instinct, then there's going to be chaos. And people need to stop judging other people when they surrender an animal because of this chaos, right? Like if the animal needs to be in a home just as the only animal with somebody that will dedicate the time to discipline, train them how they need, then that'll work. And I understand the hard lesson that this has taught me about discipline, and there's pain in it, but now there's peace in my home. So my throat's getting dry. Anyways, that was my little talk on discipline today. What I'm currently experiencing, what God's showing me, and God bless that street preacher because he confirmed what I was already going through. And it's interesting the timing in which I talked to him right before the final thing happened that we needed to change some things. He was right there before with that word of God, right? So I hope this encouraged you today. I hope it brought something to your awareness that you can work on, that you can discipline in your life for the better, so you have peace and you don't have chaos, because chaos isn't worth it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. So yes, we are in the rough with Angie, and refining is our goal, but rugged is the process. And you are not alone. Bye.